Hello guys, welcome back into a new car modeling series. The main character for this project is going to be the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute, one of the world's fastest cars. In this episode, we'll begin by modeling the car's hood, paying close attention to the details, and by explaining each step as clearly as possible. So make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel to not miss the next videos. And without further ado, let's get started. First of all, open up a new scene in Blender and delete the default cube. Then head into Top View and add the custom blueprint you can find on my Patreon, completely for free, along with other useful reference images. Since I want my model to be real-life scaled, I use the measurement tool on the left side of the screen to draw a line 4.61 meters long, just like on the blueprint. Then, I scaled the model accordingly to match the correct dimensions. And then I also aligned it on the x-axis so we can use a mirror modifier later on. Now that the first side of your blueprint is fixed, repeat the same process for the other sides by duplicating this with Shift plus D, then rotate using R plus X plus 90. Then push this back on the y-axis and repeat the process, rotating this using R plus Z plus 90. And now we're finally ready to start modeling. During the process, I'm going to use a program called PureRef that enables me to watch my reference images while modeling. You can download it by clicking the link in the description of this video. Now go into Top View. Add a plane to the scene, go into Edit mode, and collapse it into a single vertex. You can see which keys I use to do this in the bottom left portion of my screen. Position your vertex here and extrude with E. Then use Ctrl plus R to add 5 loop cuts to our edge. Now carefully use extrusion to trace the inner border of our hood. You can use either E or Ctrl plus right-click to do that. Once you reach this point, extrude the vertex. Put your 3D cursor into the world's origin by using Shift plus S plus 1. Then set your pivot point to 3D cursor in the top side of your screen and go S plus Y plus 0 while your vertex is still selected. This way, the last vertex of this border will snap into the y-axis, making sure we won't have any problems when mirroring our geometry. Then, I use the Relax and Space loop tools to smooth out this curve. You can access them by using your right-click and going into the Loop Tools section. If you don't see your Loop Tools menu, go here into the Edit tab, then click Preferences. Search Loop Tools in the Add-ons section and tick this box. Then your loop tools should be working fine. Finally, we can start filling this. I connected these two vertices with F, then I counted the number of vertices I have on the opposite side of my edge. Since there are 7 vertices, I added 7 loop cut to this edge in order to fill this section with quads. Then I simply had to repeat this process to the rest of my geometry. I carefully connected these two sides using extrusion. Then I connected the vertices in the middle, filled everything, and used loop tools to clean my topology. Once you've filled everything, select these vertices inside your object, then press Vertex, Smooth Vertices. Bring the factor to 1 and the number of repetitions to 100. Now let's take care of this part here. First of all, add 2 loop cuts in this area. Then connect these vertices and add 14 vertices between them. This is done so that we have the same number of edges on the opposite sides of a rectangle. Doing this enables us to use the Grid Fill tool by pressing Ctrl+F, then Grid Fill. Most of the time, Blender adjusts your topology automatically, but sometimes you'd have to play with the span and offset values to make sure everything's clean. At this point, you can adjust this edge's first 5 vertices to form the geometry around our car's windshield. Then use the G-Stretch Loop tool to straighten this edge and smooth the inner vertices again to refine your topology. Let's focus on filling the center of the hood now. You can see that on the opposite side of the model there are 5 vertices. So we need to use 5 vertices on the other side in order to fill everything correctly. Then connect these points and add 9 vertices between them. Before filling everything, we'll have to do a little bit of retopology to create the outer border around the windshield. Start from this side and extrude down until you get to this point here. Then select these edges. Delete them. Rearrange these vertices a bit and use M to merge these two, clicking on At Last. Finally, fill this part by creating a face here, then selecting this edge and holding F to do the rest. Now fill this portion here connecting these points. Then connect these points and add a loop cut on this side. Don't forget to add a loop cut here too before filling this up. Then do the same thing on this side and fill the center with grid fill. Now that the base for our hood is ready, we can finally start giving it some depth and add the important details. First of all, we need a sharp line passing through here, so move around these vertices and shape it. Then select it and mark it as a seam, so it's going to be easy to identify it in case we move our geometry. The next thing we're going to do is apply a mirror and a subdivision modifier. Go into your Modifiers tab and search for Mirror, then add it and set the axis to Y only. Then to add the subdivision modifier, just press Ctrl+2 while your object is still selected. Make sure to keep it under the mirror modifier to avoid problems like this. Now let's give some depth to our model. First of all, raise it up a little bit like this. Then select these edges in the middle and isolate them from the rest with Ctrl+I to invert the selection, then H to hide. Once you did that, go into Side View and follow your blueprint to position these vertices in the right place. You can help yourself with this curve by using Front View too. Let's repeat the process with these other edges. Simply select them, isolate them, and align them with the blueprint. Now place your 3D cursor here and select these vertices. Then go into Front View and press S+Z+0 to bring them at the same height as your cursor. so that now you can adjust them easily. Now the borders of our hood are in the right place, and our model, it's starting to form itself. We're going to focus on making this part here first. Start from these edges and isolate them, then carefully adjust those edges to form a smooth curve. And to make everything better, select these edges and use the Relax Loop tool. Now repeat the same process with this edge, but this time follow your blueprint from front view. Don't forget to use the Relax tool once your edges are in place. Now that this edge is fixed too, we can adjust all the geometry in between using our loop tools. Just pick these two edges. Then click here on Select Loops, Edge Rings. Then simply use the Relax Loop tool to give it the correct shape. The last thing we need to do to complete the first part of our hood is adjust all of these vertices in the middle. Start by selecting these ones and raise them up a little. Then go into top view and give them this type of shape. Once you finish that, make sure that these vertices are placed correctly on your blueprint so that they form the outer part of the windshield's cover. Then select them, mark them as a seam to make them more noticeable, and smooth these vertices to clean your topology. Now that you have some clean topology to work with, you need to adjust all of these vertices to form your hood. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find a more efficient method than adjusting them individually. However, I can assure you the final result will be worth the effort. While working on your geometry, you can use a matte cap to spot imperfections. And if your faces look like this, you can fix them by selecting everything in edit mode with A and pressing Shift+N to invert the normals. You can temporarily add a mean crease to these edges to make them look sharp. Later on, we're going to replace this with a bevel modifier. And after approximately 10 minutes of work, the result looks stunning. Now you can remove the creases from these edges. since we're going to add a bevel modifier. Go into the Modifiers tab, search for bevel, and add it. Then put it at the top of the hierarchy. Set the amount to 0.001 meters and the limit method to weight. Then go into the data properties and increase the mean bevel weight to 1 for these edges we marked as a seam. You can even raise these vertices up a bit if you want the bevel to be more visible. And now our hood is starting to look really good. Let's continue expanding our hood. Place your 3D cursor on this vertex here. Then extrude the vertex next to it and scale. Now repeat the same thing with this vertex. Then select these and make a face. Now add 3 loop cuts to this face and align your geometry with the blueprint. Then repeat this process all over again to complete the front bumper. To avoid confusion while modeling, I mark these edges as a seam, since we're going to separate this from the rest later on. After doing that, extend this bevel to these edges, then continue adjusting the vertices to our blueprint. Now that the front part of your model looks good, we can expand a bit on this side. Just use the method you used until now, then add a loop cut to this edge and connect it to the rest of the geometry. Let's focus on modeling this part here now. Just start from this vertex and extrude, making sure you create the same amount of vertices you have on the other side of the geometry. And now, before filling this up, make sure to align these vertices with the front view portion of the blueprint. Then fill everything and use loop tools to refine your shape. Also, feel free to move vertices around and make changes to your model. This not only helps improve the overall look of your model, but will also challenge you to spot small imperfections and will overall enhance your 3D modeling skills, especially if you are a beginner. Now extrude these down to complete the bumper and add a bevel to make it look sharper. We can now move on this part right here. Simply connect these vertices with F, then add 4 loop cuts and fill the faces. For this part here, we're going to use a clever topology trick instead. Just fill this hole with an end gone, then click K to use the knife tool and recreate this pattern. Then also isolate these and arrange them in a smooth curve, helping you with your side view. Let's continue our build from here. On this particular part, make sure to use the same number of vertices I use. 4 vertices between the center and the headlight. Then 5 vertices for the headlight, and 5 vertices for the rest. After adjusting these vertices, I decided to move this down a bit and to temporarily remove the bevel modifier. Then I had to readjust these a bit. And I also decided to add a loop cut to make this way smoother. Continue modeling from this part here. Then switch to top view and align your vertices. After doing that, return to side view to create the car's rim. Make sure to use 6 vertices as I did. Then use S plus Y plus 0 to straighten this up. Then extrude everything back and connect the faces. Now we're going to create a simple outline for this ventilation system before moving on modeling the rest of the bonnet. As you can see, I firstly duplicated these edges and moved them to the other side of the ventilation system, and quickly adjusted them to fit its form. Then I joined the sides and added 8 loop cuts on both of them. What you need to do now is connect these vertices right here where I added 5 loop cuts. Then isolate them with the outer border of the ventilation system to adjust them on the blueprint. Make sure to adjust them on front view too. And once you're ready, select this hole, use grid fill, and quickly adjust the geometry to be more smooth. I also decided to move my vertices around to outline the headlight's shape. Then I marked seams to make it visible. To do that, I selected all these faces where the headlight's going to be. Then I clicked here on Select, Select Loops, Select Boundary Loop. Once you did that, you can get back on modeling from this part here, extending the rim. Make sure to use 5 vertices. Then connect these two and add 9 vertices between them. Now, before filling this out, we'll need to sharpen this edge a bit by sliding it down with double G. And then you'll also need to straighten them in order to achieve the correct form. After that, you're ready to fill everything. Just add 4 loop cuts here to our geometry and use grid fill. Then repeat the same process for the hole above, using the knife tool to extend the edge we sharpened earlier. Scale these forward on the x-axis to give it a more correct shape. Now get back here and extend this edge loop. Then fill this up and switch your focus on modeling the rest of the rim. Then connect these two, add 6 vertices in between, adjust them on front view. Then add another vertex here and fill everything. Let's quickly make an outline for this part here now, since we're going to need it to fill the rest of the geometry. Once you finish that, go here on the back of the hood and extrude these vertices. Then add 2 loop cut in between. Adjust them on the blueprint and apply the bevels on all the sharp corners. Now that you have this new geometry, isolate these vertices and create this curve into side view, following your blueprint. Then, once you have it, add 6 vertices on this edge. Adjust it on the blueprint and fill everything. We need to extend this bevel here. To do that, firstly, put your 3D cursor here. Then select these edges and duplicate them. Then set this vertex as an active point by reselecting it. Set your pivot point to Active Element and press Shift+S, then Selection to Cursor Keep Offset. Now do M, by distance, to merge duplicates and fill this section. Now you have to add 3 loop cuts here. Then use the same technique we used earlier to create a curve here and fill this up. Finally, let's complete our hood by filling in these holes. I connected these vertices, added 8 vertices between them, then adjusted these on front view and used grid fill to finish it up. Now add 5 loop cuts to this edge. Then dissolve this vertex. Finally, fill this gradually. And use your loop tools to smooth out the hood's shape. Then create a loop cut here to extend this sharp line. Use J to join these vertices without messing up the mesh. Now to complete the hood, we just need to fill this hole. To do that, just connect these vertices. Add 8 loop cuts here and use grid fill. Also use loop tools to smooth out those curves. Now that our hood is complete, the last thing we're going to do for this part are going to be these vents. First of all, use grid fill on this. Then press P and by selection to separate this geometry to a new object. Then inset this with I, just a little bit to create some space with the hood. Delete this and inset again to create a border. Now to give it some depth, add a solidify modifier. Then put it at the top of the hierarchy and bevel the sharp edges. And bring up the thickness to something like 0.06 meters. Add a plane here and shape it from top view to form one of the wings. Then adjust these edges on the Z-axis and extrude to give it thickness. Now bring down this face and then separate this to a new object. Then add an array modifier, put it at the top of the hierarchy and set the count to 6 and the X factor to negative 0.35. Finally, add 6 loop cuts and move them on the Z-axis to give them our desired shape. Then to complete the vents, I had to apply the array modifier and delete all the excess vertices around the whole ventilation system. And to complete everything, I had to separate these parts of the hood by creating some bevels and then deleting them. Then I added a solidify modifier to this object and put it on the top of the hierarchy. Then finally applied bevels on all the sharp edges I needed. To apply them on the borders, you can click A to select everything, then press Select, Select Loops. Select Boundary Loop. And here we have our beautiful hood. Thank you for watching until the end of this video. In the next episode, we're going to model the sides and the car's windshield as usual. So make sure to subscribe to the channel in order to not miss the next episodes. And also make sure to join my Discord channel, where you're going to get help from me and other users with any of your Blender projects. And with this said, I'll see you in another video.